Doctor removing gloves. The donor heart came from a 12-year-old male. File 4817. Father gasping. That's no. Check again. Doctor tapping clipboard. The records don't lie. The consent form has your signature. 10 years earlier, the father, a day laborer in Cairo, sold his deceased son's organs to a black market syndicate to pay rent. Now, dying of heart failure, he's forced to use the same illicit network for a transplant. The system he exploited has circled back to consume him. Before continuing, if you believe a father's sacrifice is the greatest act of love, like and subscribe to show your support right now. The father swayed on the scaffolding. Dust coated his face. Below, men shouted in Arabic, their voices swallowed by the city noise. He grit a metal pipe, knuckles white. His chest tightened. A sharp pain lanced through him. He stumbled, his vision blurring. The rebar twisted under his worn boots. He saw his son's face for a second, smiling, then gone. Hey, old man, get back to work! A foreman yelled from below. The father tried to call back, but only a ragged cough escaped his lips. He doubled over, clutching his chest. The pipe fell cold and rough against his palm. His legs gave out. He fell forward, the world spinning. He heard shouts, the clatter of tools. He landed in soft, wet cement with a splash. The cold seeped into his thin clothes. He lay there, gasping for air. The foreman ran over, shouting, "Get up! What's wrong with you?" The father couldn't answer. His body convulsed. A co-worker knelt beside him. The father saw his hand reach into his pocket. The co-worker pulled out the father's worn leather wallet. He glanced around quickly, then shoved the wallet into his own shirt. He stood up and backed away. "He's faking it," the coworker shouted. "Just lazy." The foreman kicked the father's boot lightly. "Get him out of here. We got work to do." Two other workers grabbed the father's arms. They dragged him across the cement, leaving a smear. They pulled him to the edge of the site and left him on the dusty ground. He lay there, the sun beating down. His chest burned. He felt a vibrating in his pocket. His cracked phone screen displayed a missed call from the hospital number. He couldn't lift his hand to answer. The screen went dark. Hours later, the father pushed himself up. His body ached. The cement had dried on his clothes, stiff and heavy. He needed help. The hospital wouldn't take him without money or insurance. He knew only one place, a place he swore he would never go back to. He walked slowly through the crowded streets, past stalls selling fruit and spices. The smells made his stomach clench. He reached a narrow alley behind the market. A single dim light bulb hung over a metal door. He knocked 3 times, a specific rhythm. The door opened a crack. A man's eye peered out. "What do you want?" the man grunted. "I need to see the doctor," the father whispered, his voice hoarse. The eye studied him. The door opened wider. The man stepped aside. The father entered a dark hallway. The air smelled of disinfectant and something metallic. He followed the man through another door into a small room. Fluorescent lights flickered overhead, casting harsh shadows. A stainless steel table sat in the center. Instruments lay neatly arranged on a tray. A man in a white coat sat at a small desk. This was the doctor. This was the doctor. He was pretty ambitious. He was the only doctor. This was the doctor. That's it. That's what happened. Doctor in the embattled planet. He was master of the group he had gone to. Doctor in the great 16th century. Both good and evil have returned to the doctor. This is now Manner's doctor. No other individual on this planet. Someone worthy of honor. But he should remain undetermined to match what's in front of him. Whatever difficulties he has not taken, he will face, will present. They must return to the night sky. Our second, no one will make it to the next one. It's not the way impossible to catch this military subversion. We're not safe enough to control our destinies. Well, my friend, I must show you kindness to myself and the character. I must develop some wind in the colonist and tell you listeners, if you encounter the same doctor from 10 years ago, his face was older, lines etched around his eyes, but the same coldness was there. He wore a gold watch on his wrist. "You," the doctor said, his voice flat. "I thought you were finished with us." "I need help," the father said, clutching his chest. "My heart, it's failing." The doctor leaned back in his chair. "A heart? That's expensive. No legal wait list for you, but cash by speed." The father pulled a crumpled wad of bills from his pocket. It was only a fraction of what he needed. "This is all I have." The doctor picked up the money, counted it quickly. He chuckled without humor. "This won't even buy you the paperwork." "Please," the father begged. "I'm dying." "Dying is cheap," the doctor said. "Living costs, especially here." He gestured around the room. "You know how this works. We find what you need. You pay." "I don't have more money," the father said. "Not like before." The doctor tapped his pen on the desk. "Before was different. You were selling. Now you're buying. The price went up." The father swallowed. He thought of his son, of the day he signed the papers. Is there another way for you?" The doctor scoffed. No, you used your credit already. The only way is cash. Or maybe something else. He looked the father up and down. Are you sure you have nothing else to offer? The father shook his head. Nothing, just, myself. The doctor considered this. Your body is failing. Not much use to us, but maybe a quick turnaround. We find a match. We operate. You pay what you have now, and the rest only then. Later, with interest. Interest? Of course. Nothing is free. Not even a second chance. The doctor slid a form across the desk. Sign this. It's consent for the procedure and a payment plan. The father picked up the pen. His hand trembled. He saw the lines on the form. Patient name, procedure, estimated cost. Then lower down, donor ID. He paused. His hand froze. He remembered another form. 10 years ago, in a clean hospital room, not this dark clinic, signing away his son's body. The memory made him feel sick. He saw his son's face again, clearer this time, smiling, holding a small red toy car. What's wrong? The doctor asked. The father shook his head. Nothing. He forced his hand to move. He signed his name on the line. His signature was shaky, barely legible. He pushed the form back to the doctor. Good, the doctor said, picking up the paper. He didn't look at the signature. His eyes were on the donor ID field. He made a note on the form. We'll contact you when we have a match. The father stood up. His legs felt weak. He turned and walked back towards the door. The metallic smell seemed stronger now. He heard the doctor talking on a phone as he left, his voice low and businesslike. He stumbled out of the alley and back onto the street. The sun was setting, casting long shadows. He needed to get home, to his small room. He felt the weight of the form he had just signed. Even though he didn't have a copy, he had made another deal, another bargain with the devil. He reached his building, a crumbling concrete structure. He climbed the stairs slowly, each step a struggle. His chest felt heavy like a stone. He unlocked his door and stepped inside his one-room apartment. It was dark and dusty. A thin mattress on the floor, a single chair, a small table. On the table sat a rusted tin box. He walked to the table and picked up the box. It rattled. He sat on the edge of the mattress and opened it. Inside were the few things he kept. A faded photograph of his son, smiling, a school report card with good grades, and the small red toy car. He picked it up. The plastic was worn smooth, the paint chipped in places. He ran his thumb over the tiny wheels. They spun freely. He held the toy car in his palm. His chest tightened again, sharper this time. He gasped for air. The room seemed to shrink around him. He squeezed the toy car tightly. He heard his son's voice in his head, faint but clear. "Bubba, look at my race car!" He closed his eyes, the pain overwhelming him. The toy car felt warm against his skin. He lay back on the mattress, still clutching the car. He waited, waiting for the call, waiting for the heart, waiting for the heart, waiting for whatever came next. The toy car's wheels spun for a moment, mimicking a heartbeat's rhythm, then slowed, coming to a stop in his hand. A nurse wheeled the father down a bright hallway. The ceiling lights felt too harsh. He lay on the gurney, staring up. His hands rested on his chest. The tin box was gone. He felt a cold dread settle over him. They stopped. Outside, a door. It was cold in the room. A surgeon stood there, pulling on gloves. His face was hidden behind a mask. The doctor was there too, watching. "He's ready," the nurse said. They moved the father onto a narrow table. Straps were placed across his arms and legs. He tried to speak, to ask about the heart, but his mouth felt dry. He saw the surgeon lean over him. A mask was placed over his face. He breathed in a sweet, heavy gas. The lights above him seemed to spin. He heard voices, muffled. A strange beeping started somewhere. He felt a pressure on his chest. A distant sound, like a truck horn, echoed in his ears. He saw his son's face for a fleeting second, smiling. Then the darkness took over. Sounds returned slowly. A steady beep. Voices, clearer now. He felt a dull ache in his chest. He tried to open his eyes. They felt heavy. He blinked. He blinked. He blinked. The room was different. White walls. A machine beside the bed beeped rhythmically. An IV line ran into his arm. He moved his hand, felt a bandage tight across his chest. He was alive. A nurse sat in a chair by the bed, looking at a tablet. She had the same clinic logo on her ID badge as the man who opened the door in the alley. He cleared his throat. It felt rough. "Nurse," she looked up. "You're awake. Good. The operation?" he whispered. "Successful," she said, nodding. "You're very lucky." A heart became available quickly. "The donor," he said. "Who was it?" The nurse hesitated. She looked down at her tablet. tablet. That information is confidential. I need to know, he insisted. Please, please. She sighed. It's standard procedure. We don't share donor details with recipients, but I signed papers, he said, at the clinic. Different papers, she said dismissively. Those were for the procedure itself. Donor information is separate. He tried to push himself up. A sharp pain stopped him. He fell back against the pillows. But the doctor, he said once. A coin, he said two. He said. The nurse stood up. Rest now. You've been through a major surgery. She adjusted the IV drip. The machine beside the bed beat steadily. He watched her. He saw the clinic logo again on her badge. The same place he sold his son's organs. The same place he bought his heart. Was the donor Phil young? He asked, his voice trembling. The nurse paused. She looked at him, her expression unreadable. I can't give you that information. It's against the rules. Just tell me that, he pleaded. Was it a child? She turned away, walked towards the door. Get some rest. Wait, he called out. The doctor. I need to speak to the doctor. She stopped at the door. You'll be by later. She opened the door and left, closing it softly behind her. He was alone again. The beeping of the machine filled the silence. He pressed his hand gently against his chest. He felt the rhythm of the new heart beating inside him. It felt strong, too strong. He closed his eyes. He saw his son's face again, laughing, running, holding the red toy car. The car's wheels spun. He heard the little motor sound it made. Beep, beep, beep. Like the machine beside him. Hours passed. The door opened again. The doctor entered. He still wore his white coat, but no mask now. His gold watch glinted under the room lights. He carried a clipboard. Ah, you're awake, the doctor said, walking to the bedside. His voice was clinical, detached. Doctor, the father said, his voice weak. The donor. The nurse wouldn't tell me. The doctor looked down at his clipboard. He flipped a page. Yes, the donor, a good match. Very fortunate. Who was it? The father asked again, urgency in his voice. Was it a child? The doctor stopped flipping pages. He looked at the father. Why do you ask that? Just tell me, the father insisted. Please. The doctor sighed. A quiet sound. He tapped his pen on the keyboard. All right, given the circumstances, and your previous history with our, until this, services, I suppose you're entitled to know. He looked down at the clipboard again. The donor was a male, approximately 12 years old. At the time of death, the father felt his breath catch in his throat. His body started to tremble. 12? He whispered. Yes, the doctor confirmed. Died. Let's see. 10 years ago, he looked up, his eyes meeting the father's. Traffic accident. The father stared at him, his eyes wide with horror. 10 years ago, traffic accident. 12 years old. The words hammered in his head. He knew before the doctor said anything else. No, the father gasped. No, that's impossible. It's not impossible, the doctor said, his voice flat. We keep meticulous records. The heart was preserved, waiting for a suitable recipient. Your profile matched perfectly. He pointed to the clipboard. File number 4819. The father's eyes fixed on the number 4819. He remembered that number. He remembered seeing it on the forms. The forms he signed 10 years ago in the hospital after the accident, after his son. The consent form, the doctor continued, unaware of the storm raging inside the father. It's all here, signed by the next of kin. The father. He looked at the father, a flicker of something in his eyes, perhaps mild curiosity at the man's extreme reaction. Your signature is right here, he said, pointing to the page. For donor ID 4819. The father felt the world tilt. The beeping of the machine seemed to grow louder, faster. He saw his son's face again, clear as day, not laughing this time, just looking at him with wide, innocent eyes. It was silence. It was on silence. In the background, it was silence. My son, the father whispered, the words barely audible. The doctor nodded slowly. Yes. According to the records, the donor was listed as the son of the individual who signed the consent. The father's body began to shake uncontrollably. His breath came in ragged gasps. He pressed his hand hard against his chest, against the new heart beating inside him. His son's heart beating in his chest. You gave me tist. His heart, the father choked out, his voice cracking. The doctor looked confused for a second. Well, yes, that's how it works. The donor organ goes to the recipient. He looked back at the clipboard. A rare match after so long. Quite remarkable, medically speaking. The father felt a searing pain erupt in his chest. Not the old dull ache. This was sharp, tearing. He saw the toy car in his mind, spinning The sound of its little motor. The sound of its little motor. Beep, 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 beep. Faster and faster. The machine beside him started to shriek. A high, continuous tone. He opened his mouth to scream, but no sound came out. He arched his back, his body convulsing. His eyes rolled back. His hand clenched into a fist against his chest. He saw his son's face one last time, fading into the light. The doctor stepped back quickly. He watched the monitors. The line went flat. The shrieking continued. He reached for his wrist, checked his gold watch. He looked at the monitors again. He reached for the father's neck, felt for a pulse. Nothing. He straightened up. He picked up his clipboard. He clicked his pen. He looked at the flat line on the monitor. Time of death, the doctor said, looking at his watch. 14:03. He made a note on the father's chart. Cardiac arrest. He put the clipboard under his arm. The shrieking of the machine filled the room. A doctor walked towards the door. He did not look back at the body on the bed. The flat line stretched across the screen.